What if the biggest thing holding you back was you? That's the question at the heart of The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. A bold, eye-opening book that flips the way we think about success, happiness, and personal growth. If you've ever felt like you were on the edge of something amazing but kept getting pulled back, this book will speak to your soul. The Big Leap was first released in 2009, but its message is more relevant today than ever. We live in a world that constantly tells us to hustle harder, aim higher, and do more. But what if the problem isn't how hard we work? What if it's how much happiness and success we're willing to allow ourselves to have? That's where Gay Hendricks comes in. He's not just a writer. He's a psychologist, a teacher, and a pioneer in the field of personal transformation. For over 40 years, he's worked with high-level executives, creatives, couples, and everyday people who are stuck in a frustrating pattern. Every time things start going really well, boom. Something self-sabotaging creeps in. An argument. A mistake. A slump. Sound familiar? Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem, and it's the core idea of the book. You see, we all have an inner thermostat setting for how much love, success, and joy we think we deserve. And the moment we start to exceed that limit, our subconscious pulls us right back down to normal. It's sneaky. It's automatic. And it's been running the show for years without us even realizing it. But here's the good news. The Big Leap gives you the tools to recognize and break that pattern. It shows you how to move from your zone of excellence, where you're doing well, but still playing it safe, into your zone of genius, where you're doing the work you were meant to do, in full alignment with who you truly are. This isn't just motivational fluff. Hendricks breaks it down with clarity, structure, and heart. He shows how to identify your self-imposed limits, how to catch the moment you're about to sabotage yourself, and how to push through it, into a life that's bigger, better, and more fulfilling than you ever thought possible. Whether you're chasing a dream, trying to grow a business, or just ready to stop getting in your own way, this book will challenge you in the best way. So if you're tired of starting strong and then slipping back, if you've ever felt like you're meant for more but can't figure out how to fully claim it, then buckle up. Because you're about to take your own big leap. The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Have you ever had one of those moments where life feels too good to be true? Like everything's finally going your way, your work's flowing, your relationships are solid, your health's on track, and then, bam, out of nowhere, you pick a fight, miss a deadline, or just start feeling anxious and off? Like something inside you can't let it be that good? If that sounds familiar, then welcome. You're exactly where you need to be. Because The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks is about to uncover what's really going on when life feels like it's expanding, and then something, or someone, pulls it right back in. This book is not just another self-help title filled with surface-level tips and feel-good advice. No. The Big Leap is a deeper, more psychological journey into your inner limits, the invisible ceilings you don't even realize are holding you back. It's about how we all unconsciously sabotage our own success, our happiness, even our love, because we're afraid of what it would mean to fully shine, to fully succeed, to fully love and be loved. That fear is what Gay Hendricks calls the upper limit problem. It's like we all have an internal thermostat for how much good we're allowed to experience in life. And the moment we pass that limit, our mind, or our behavior, finds a way to cool things down. Sometimes it's subtle, a negative thought, a bad mood, a little procrastination. Sometimes it's dramatic, a breakup, a blow-up, quitting right before the breakthrough. And here's the kicker, we don't even realize we're doing it. That's what makes this book so powerful. Because when you start to see your own upper limit patterns, it's like someone just turned on the lights in a room you didn't know you were locked inside. And the truth stares back at you. You've been the one holding yourself back, not because you're weak, or lazy, or broken, but because your subconscious mind was trying to protect you from success that felt unfamiliar, and maybe even unsafe. Gay Hendricks wrote The Big Leap after decades of work as a psychologist and executive coach. He's spent his career studying the deeper layers of human behavior, why we do what we do, even when it makes no sense. He's worked with Fortune 500 leaders, world-class creatives, entrepreneurs, couples, parents, people from all walks of life. And again, he saw the same pattern. We all carry these hidden limits about how much success, love, and happiness we think we deserve. But here's the life-changing twist. Those limits aren't real. They're learned. And they can be unlearned. That's what this book is about. The Big Leap isn't about small improvements or slow progress. It's about one massive, transformational shift, from the life you're currently settling for to the life you're actually meant to live. Hendricks introduces the idea of your zone of genius, that unique space where your natural talents and deepest passions align. When you live and work in your zone of genius, you're not just successful, you're lit up, alive, and flowing in a way that feels effortless and electric. But to get there, you have to make the big leap. You have to be willing to let go of fear-based patterns, outgrow your comfort zone, and take full ownership of your potential. You have to rewrite the old script that says, "This is as good as it gets," and replace it with one that says, "This is just the beginning." Now, this book doesn't just drop big ideas and leave you hanging. Hendricks walks you through it, step by step. He helps you spot your own upper limit triggers. Those thoughts, stories, and behaviors that hold you back. He shows you how to break free from them, not by forcing your way through, but by expanding your capacity for joy, success, love, and ease. He even dives into the hidden fears we carry, like the fear of outshining others, or the fear that being fully happy is somehow selfish or wrong. These are deep, real things. And the way Hendricks guides you through them is both compassionate and transformational. So why does this matter now, in the world we live in? Because in today's hustle culture, most of us are burning ourselves out in our zone of excellence, doing things we're good at, even great at, but that don't light us up. We're productive but not passionate, comfortable but not fulfilled. And worst of all, we've convinced ourselves that's enough. But what if it's not? What if there's a version of your life, and of you, that's wildly successful and deeply joyful? What if you didn't have to choose between ambition and peace, between purpose and pleasure? That's what The Big Leap is here to show you. It's not a book you read and forget. It's a book that cracks you open and stays with you. A book you come back to every time you hit a ceiling, whether in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth. And now, we're going to explore it together. Step by step. Chapter by chapter. This is about transformation, not just information. This is about you claiming the life you're truly capable of living. So take a breath. Get quiet. And get ready. Let's start with Chapter 1. Preparing for your big leap. So, here we are, on the edge of something new. In Chapter 1, Gay Hendricks invites us to take a good, honest look at ourselves before we make the big leap. This chapter is all about preparing your mindset for what's to come. Because let's be real. Transformation doesn't just happen by reading a few powerful lines. It happens when you decide to look at what's been holding you back and commit to breaking through it. And that starts right here. Hendricks opens this chapter with a bold promise that we can live in a constant state of success, love, and creativity if, and only if, we're willing to confront the hidden forces that keep pulling us back. He introduces the key concept of the entire book, the upper limit problem. This idea is powerful, and honestly, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like you finally understand why things go wrong just when they start going right. Imagine this, you get a raise. Things are finally going well in your business. Or maybe you're falling in love, feeling inspired, waking up excited. But then, suddenly, you pick a fight. Or get sick. Or miss a deadline. Or find yourself anxious for no clear reason. That's your upper limit kicking in. It's your subconscious way of saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Things are getting too good. Time to bring it back down." That's what Hendricks wants us to recognize. These patterns aren't random. They're internal settings, like a thermostat that controls how much happiness, wealth, love, and success we allow ourselves to feel. And the first step to changing your life is admitting that you're the one keeping yourself small. That realization is humbling. But it's also liberating. Because if you're the one creating the limits, you can also be the one to break them. In this chapter, Hendricks gives real-world examples of how the upper limit shows up. A CEO who crashes a winning streak by making a reckless decision. A couple who starts arguing right after a romantic breakthrough. A creative who procrastinates the moment they get close to finishing their best work. These stories aren't just dramatic, they're relatable. Because once you start to notice the pattern, you realize, we all do this. We all hit a point where our internal comfort zone says, that's enough good stuff. And suddenly, we're finding ways to sabotage it. So how do we stop? Hendricks says it starts with awareness. Just becoming conscious of the fact that you have an upper limit is already a massive shift. Most people never realize they're even doing it. They blame other people, bad luck, timing, the economy, anything but their own inner thermostat. But you're different. You're listening. You're waking up to it. And that alone puts you miles ahead. Then, he invites us to take radical responsibility. Not in a heavy, guilt-filled way, but in an empowering way. Because when you own the idea that you're creating your own limits, you also get to own the power to break through them. That's where the idea of the big leap comes in. It's not about small changes. It's about making one major shift, from a life that's limited by fear, by patterns, by inherited beliefs, into a life that's guided by your zone of genius. Now, in this first chapter, you won't yet define your genius zone, that comes later. But what you do start doing here is clearing space. Mentally, emotionally, energetically. You begin the process of loosening your grip on the old stories that say, I don't deserve that much happiness. If I succeed too much, people will leave me. It's not safe to be that visible. I have to work hard for everything. I can't just flow. Sound familiar? That's what you're going to challenge. Bit by bit. Thought by thought. Pattern by pattern. Hendricks closes the chapter by inviting you to reflect on your own upper limit behaviors. He wants you to ask yourself, where do I cap my happiness or success? When things go really well, do I get anxious? Do I downplay compliments, avoid big opportunities, or, coincidentally, get sick when I'm making progress? This isn't about judging yourself, it's about getting curious. Because curiosity leads to awareness, and awareness leads to change. So as chapter 1 ends, you're not making the big leap yet, but you're standing right at the edge, getting ready. You're looking at the inner landscape of your life and asking, what would happen if I really let myself succeed? What if I didn't hold back? That's where it begins. Right here. Not with the leap, but with the decision to leap. Now, Chapter 2, Discovering Your Hidden Barriers. This chapter is where the real inner work begins. Now that we understand the concept of the upper limit problem, that internal thermostat that pulls us back down whenever life gets too good, it's time to go beneath the surface and figure out why it exists in the first place. Gay Hendricks starts this chapter by telling us, we all have what he calls hidden barriers, deep, mostly unconscious beliefs that we formed early in life. These beliefs create the foundation of our personal upper limit problems. They aren't just bad habits or negative thoughts. They're stories, emotional imprints from childhood that whisper things like, I'm not good enough. Or, if I shine too brightly, I'll make others feel bad. And here's the thing, these beliefs often made sense when we were younger. They protected us. They helped us feel safe, accepted, or loved. But as adults, they're quietly running the show, holding us back from the life we're truly capable of living. So Hendricks walks us through the 4 major hidden barriers he's identified in years of working with people from all walks of life. And as you listen, you might feel like one or more of them fits you perfectly. That's a good thing. It means the awareness is starting. The first hidden barrier is feeling fundamentally flawed. This is the belief that there's something deeply wrong with you, that you're broken in some way, and that because of that, you don't deserve real success or happiness. If you carry this belief, you might always feel like an imposter, or like your wins are just lucky breaks that could be taken away at any time. You might subconsciously sabotage good things because a part of you believes you're not worthy of keeping them. The second is disloyalty and abandonment. This one runs deep, especially for people from families or communities where success wasn't the norm. If you grew up hearing things like, "Don't get too big for your britches," or saw people struggling while you dreamed of something more, you may have internalized the idea that if you succeed, you'll leave people behind, or worse, they'll stop loving you. This belief makes success feel lonely or dangerous, like you'll be betraying your roots by growing past them. The third hidden barrier is believing that more success brings a bigger burden. This one's sneaky. It's the idea that if you take the big leap, if you actually go for it, you'll have more responsibility, more pressure, and way less freedom. This belief makes people stay small because it convinces them that success equals stress. So they stay in their zone of excellence, doing work they're good at, but never making the leap into their true zone of genius. And finally, the fourth barrier, the crime of outshining. This is the belief that if you truly let yourself shine, you'll make others feel bad. It often starts in childhood. Maybe you were the smart one, the talented one, the golden child, and you were told to tone it down so your siblings or classmates wouldn't feel inferior. That message sticks. As an adult, you might find yourself holding back your genius, playing small in meetings, avoiding attention, not because you can't shine, but because a part of you believes it's not safe to. Hendricks makes it clear, these beliefs are not your fault. They were inherited, absorbed, and shaped by experiences you didn't choose. But here's the power. You can choose to let them go. Not by fighting them, but by becoming aware of them. Because once you bring these barriers into the light, they start to lose their grip. This chapter isn't about fixing yourself. It's about seeing yourself clearly, maybe for the first time. It's about recognizing that those old beliefs don't define you. They're just outdated programming. And if you want to live in your zone of genius, if you want to take that big leap, you've got to be willing to upgrade your system. Hendricks encourages us to journal, reflect, and get curious. Which of the four hidden barriers feels most familiar? When did you first start believing it? How has it shaped your choices, your patterns, your limits? And most importantly, what could your life look like without that belief? By the end of this chapter, the invitation is clear. If you want to soar, you have to unhook yourself from the anchors that have kept you grounded. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to look at the beliefs that no longer serve you, and choose something better. This chapter isn't just about identifying the problem. It's about beginning the healing. It's the moment you realize, oh, I've been carrying this weight my whole life. But maybe I don't have to anymore. And that realization? That's powerful. That's the beginning of real freedom. Next is Chapter 3, Getting Specific. Up to this point, we've been looking at the limits, the barriers, the things that stop us from fully stepping into our potential. But Chapter 3 flips the script. This is where Gay Hendricks starts asking the big question. What if your life could be centered around doing what you're uniquely good at? Not just what you're good at. Not just what people praise you for. But what you're meant to do, what lights you up, flows through you effortlessly, and serves the world in a powerful way. That right there is what Hendricks calls your zone of genius. But before we get into that magic zone, Hendricks walks us through the different zones we operate in throughout our lives. And here's the breakdown. First, there's the zone of incompetence. This is the stuff you're just not good at. Tasks that drain your energy and take way too long. The worst part? Someone else could do them way better. A lot of people stay here out of fear or ego, thinking they have to do everything themselves. Then comes the zone of competence. In this space, you can do the job well enough, but there's nothing exciting about it. It's efficient, but uninspired. You're not struggling, but you're not soaring either. Next is the zone of excellence. This is where a lot of people get stuck. And this is important to sit with. The zone of excellence is made up of things you're really good at. Maybe even better than most people. You get praise here. You make money here. But it's not your genius. It's comfortable, but it's not fulfilling. And over time, it starts to feel like a trap. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more, but the world keeps rewarding you for staying where you are. And that brings us to the final zone, the zone of genius. This is where your natural talents, deepest passions, and highest contribution all meet. When you operate from this place, you feel energized. Time disappears. You feel aligned, inspired, and connected to something greater than yourself. This is the space where you can make your biggest impact, and also live your happiest life. But here's the catch: most people never get there. Not because they can't, but because they've never stopped long enough to ask, what is my zone of genius? Or because they've been conditioned to believe that work has to be hard, that struggle equals value, or that their true gifts are somehow not practical. That's what this chapter helps you break through. Hendricks challenges us to stop settling for good and start aiming for great. Not in a hustle culture kind of way, but in a soul-aligned, joy-driven, legacy-building kind of way. He offers some simple but powerful questions to help you get specific. What work do I do that doesn't seem like work? What activities do I do where I lose track of time? What do I do that consistently produces extraordinary results? What do I love so much I do it for free, but people would gladly pay me for it? These questions aren't just prompts, they're doorways. When you sit with them honestly, they start to uncover truths you may have buried for years under jobs, expectations, or self-doubt. This chapter is about clarity. It's about giving yourself permission to dream specifically. Not just, I want to help people. But how? Not just, I love being creative. But in what way? What medium? What format? What environment lets you truly shine? And here's the powerful shift Hendricks wants you to make. Start imagining a life where your zone of genius isn't a side hobby or something you do when you have time, but the foundation of your career, your contribution, your daily life. He even suggests you make a genius commitment, a bold inner promise to yourself that you'll devote more of your time and energy to your zone of genius. Even if it starts small. Even if it feels scary. Because the longer you wait, the more you settle. And the more you settle, the more your soul starts to shrink. By the end of this chapter, the energy shifts. You've moved from why do I hold myself back? To what would it look like to truly let myself fly? And you don't have to figure it all out today. You just have to start asking better questions. And listening, really listening, for the answers inside you. Because your genius? It's not something you have to invent. It's something you uncover. And once you find it, there's no going back. Next is Chapter 4, Building a New Home in Your Zone of Genius. So, by now, you've peeked into your potential. You've asked the big questions. What am I really meant to do? What do I love so much that time disappears when I'm doing it? But Gay Hendricks is about to raise the stakes. Because it's one thing to know your zone of genius. It's another thing entirely to build a life around it. This chapter is where Hendricks draws the line between dabbling in your genius zone and fully living there. That means waking up each day with clarity, purpose, and a deep connection to what you're here to do. No more just visiting your genius occasionally when you have time. Now, it's about moving in. Making it your home. But how do you do that? It starts with intention. Hendricks introduces a powerful concept here, what he calls the genius spiral. This isn't some productivity hack or overnight success blueprint. It's a shift in identity. When you decide to live in your zone of genius, you begin to align your time, choices, and even your relationships around what truly fuels you. You start making different decisions, not because you have to, but because anything less than your genius zone starts to feel heavy, draining, off. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. Because your ego? It's used to your zone of excellence. That space where you're praised, competent, respected. But also stuck. Your comfort zone and your genius zone are not the same thing. In this chapter, Hendricks really emphasizes the emotional resistance that comes up when we try to expand. Remember the upper limit problem? It doesn't go away just because you've identified your genius. In fact, once you start moving into your higher potential, that internal thermostat will definitely try to pull you back down. You might feel more tired, more doubtful, suddenly busy. You'll get tempting offers to go back to the safe, familiar stuff you're great at. That's your upper limit flaring up, testing your commitment. So how do you stay the course? You practice. Hendricks encourages us to ask this deceptively simple question every single day. How can I operate in my zone of genius today? Not, how can I be perfect? Or, how can I have it all figured out? Just, what's one thing I can do that moves me toward my genius? One choice. One conversation. One shift. That's how you build a new home in your zone of genius. Not all at once, but moment by moment. Intention by intention. You start designing your life to support your genius, not the other way around. And part of that means learning how to say no to distractions, obligations, and even opportunities that aren't aligned. Hendricks is clear about this. Not everything that looks good is meant for you. Saying no to the zone of excellence is the real leap of faith. Because it means walking away from certainty, applause, and easy wins to pursue something deeper. This chapter also touches on how important your environment is, both your physical space and your relationships. If you're serious about living in your genius, you need people around you who support that version of you. Who remind you of your brilliance when you forget. Who see you and call you forward. Hendricks doesn't sugarcoat it. It takes courage to restructure your life around your genius zone. But the reward? It's massive. More joy. More flow. More impact. And best of all? A sense of alignment that you can feel in your body. By the end of this chapter, the vision is clear. This isn't just self-improvement. This is self-liberation. You're not here to play small. You're not here to blend in. You're here to expand, fully and unapologetically. And that starts with a daily decision to choose your genius zone over everything else. Even if it's hard. Even if it's scary. Even if no one else gets it yet. Because once you build a life from that place, you'll never want to go back. Alright, let's keep this powerful journey going with Chapter 5, Living in Your Zone of Genius from the Big Leap. By now, you've discovered what your genius zone is. You've even started the process of building your life around it. But what happens when you finally get there? How do you stay in that space when life pulls at you from every angle? This chapter is about what it really looks and feels like to live inside your zone of genius, not just occasionally, but as a way of life. So you've identified your zone of genius. Maybe you've even made some bold moves, had tough conversations, shifted how you spend your time, or said no to things that once felt essential. That's huge. That's courage in action. Now Gay Hendricks invites you to take it one step further, to not just visit your genius zone, but to fully live there, day after day, moment by moment. And here's the truth, it's not as simple as flipping a switch. Living in your genius zone takes practice. It's like strengthening a muscle you've had all along, but rarely used. Hendricks explains that your genius zone isn't just about your work. It's not just the thing you do from 9 to 5. It's about your way of being. Your state of flow. Your willingness to show up, fully present, doing the thing that only you can do. Whether that's writing, teaching, leading, creating, solving, healing, it's something that feels deeply natural to you, but also expansive. Like you're doing what you were born to do. But the challenge? The world doesn't always support genius living. The world rewards productivity, multitasking, staying busy, staying safe. So when you start operating from genius, it can feel unfamiliar. Even isolating. That's where awareness becomes your superpower. Hendricks gives us a powerful reminder here. Living in your genius zone is a moment-to-moment choice. Not a one-time decision. Not something you graduate into. It's a daily practice of coming back to what lights you up and letting go of what drains you. He encourages us to listen to our bodies. Pay attention to energy. When you're doing genius work, you feel alive. Time stretches or disappears. There's ease, even in challenge. But when you're outside of that zone, when you're back in your zone of excellence or competence, you'll feel it. A subtle heaviness. A mental fog. Resistance. Those moments are clues. Not signs of failure, but gentle nudges reminding you to recalibrate. This chapter also talks about the importance of protecting your genius zone. That means setting boundaries, guarding your time, saying no to the things that pull you away from your true path, even if they're good things. And this is key. Hendricks urges us to own our genius unapologetically. That means trusting it, speaking from it, charging for it, leading with it. Too many people shrink their brilliance because they're afraid of being too much or too different. But your genius is not negotiable. It's not something you need to water down to be accepted. In fact, the more you live in your genius zone, the more magnetizing you become. Opportunities find you. The right people show up. You start to create from alignment, not stress. Your impact grows, and so does your inner peace. There's a beautiful moment in this chapter where Hendricks describes genius living as a spiral. Not a straight climb, not a race, but a continuous, upward-moving loop. You revisit lessons. You hit new levels. And each time, you go deeper, higher, freer. By the end of this chapter, you get the feeling that your genius zone isn't a destination. It's a way of life. It's a sacred rhythm. It's the ultimate expression of who you really are. And the more you live in that space, the more you start to realize, this isn't about success by the world's standards. This is about success on your terms. Living in your genius zone isn't just good for you. It's your greatest contribution to the world. Because when you're fully alive, fully aligned, and fully expressed, you give others permission to do the same. Next up is the final chapter. Chapter 6. The Ultimate Success Mantra, where Hendricks introduces a simple but transformative practice you can use every day to stay aligned with your genius and keep expanding beyond your upper limits. Throughout the book, we've taken a journey. We uncovered the upper limit problem, the invisible barrier keeping us from living fully. We revealed the hidden fears and limiting beliefs that cause us to sabotage our own joy. We discovered the zones, incompetence, competence, excellence, and genius, and identified where we truly want to live. We made the commitment to step into our genius zone and live from that space. And now, we learn how to keep going. How to stay connected to that place of creativity, purpose, and joy, not just in peak moments, but every day. That's where the ultimate success mantra comes in. Gay Hendricks introduces this mantra as a way of anchoring your mind and energy. Something you can say to yourself every morning, during stressful moments, or whenever you feel yourself slipping back into old habits or doubts. Here it is. I expand in abundance, success, and love every day, as I inspire those around me to do the same. Let that settle in for a second. It's not a command. It's not a hustle-hard affirmation. It's a declaration of identity. A vision of how you move through the world. I expand. That word is key. Not, I work harder. Not, I chase more. But expand. Effortlessly. Naturally. Like a plant growing toward the sun. You're not forcing greatness. You're allowing it. In abundance, success, and love. Notice the balance here. This isn't just about making more money or hitting goals. It's about whole life success. Joy. Meaning. Connection. Not one or the other, all of it. Every day. Progress, not perfection. A little more each day. You don't have to leap a mountain. You just have to keep opening. As I inspire those around me to do the same. This part? It's beautiful. Because it's not just about you. It's about the ripple effect. Your expansion gives others permission to expand too. When you live in your genius zone, you don't just win, you lift the people around you. This mantra isn't about manifesting with magic words. It's about setting a conscious tone for your day. It helps rewire your thoughts. It reinforces the belief that it's safe to grow, to succeed, to love deeper, to shine brighter. And maybe most importantly, it helps you override the upper limit problem. Because remember those old beliefs? The guilt, the fear, the sabotage? They're not gone. They'll still whisper in your ear sometimes. But this mantra becomes your new mental home. A grounding reminder that you're no longer available for shrinking. You're here to expand. Hendricks encourages you to use this mantra daily. Say it in the mirror. Write it in your journal. Repeat it during your walk, your shower, your quiet moments. The more you say it, the more it becomes who you are. And with that, the journey comes full circle. This book isn't just about success. It's about liberation. From fear. From limits. From the outdated belief that you have to choose between greatness and peace, between ambition and joy. The Big Leap is an invitation to live a life that's not just impressive on the outside, but deeply aligned on the inside. So what's your next move? You already know. It's the one that feels expansive. The one that feels a little scary but a lot true. The one that whispers, "This is who I really am." You've got this. And every day you get to choose. I expand in abundance, success, and love every day, as I inspire those around me to do the same. So here we are, at the end of a journey that began with a question: what's really holding me back from living my best, most fulfilled life? And the answer, as Gay Hendricks revealed, isn't something external. It's not a lack of talent, money, time, or opportunity. It's something much sneakier and far more powerful. It's us. It's the internal thermostat we've unknowingly set to limit how much success, love, and happiness we allow ourselves to feel. That's the core message of the Big Leap. Most of us are living with what Hendricks calls the upper limit problem, a subconscious cap we hit when things start going too well. We sabotage the good, pick fights, make mistakes, or procrastinate, not because we're flawed, but because we've never learned how to feel safe at higher levels of joy and success. So here's the first big takeaway: self-sabotage isn't the enemy. It's a signal. When things are going wrong after they were going great, pause. Instead of judging yourself, ask, am I hitting an upper limit? What part of me believes I don't deserve this level of joy, love, or abundance? That shift in awareness alone can change your life. The next major insight is all about your genius zone. There are 4 zones we all operate in. Incompetence, you're just not good at it. Competence, you can do it, but others could do it just as well. Excellence, you're great at it. People praise you for it. It feels safe. Genius, this is your magic. Your unique gift. The thing you do effortlessly, joyfully, and powerfully. When you're here, time disappears and you come alive. The biggest leap you'll ever take is moving from your zone of excellence, where you're comfortable but underfulfilled, to your zone of genius, where you're fully expressed and fully alive. Your genius zone is not a luxury. It's your purpose. Living there means aligning your choices, your time, and your energy around what truly lights you up. And that's not selfish, it's your greatest contribution to the world. But let's be real, it's not easy. This book doesn't sugarcoat it. Stepping into your genius zone means you'll face fears, guilt, resistance. Your ego will try to pull you back to what's familiar. Your old patterns will flare up. That's why Hendricks teaches us how to recognize the 4 hidden beliefs that keep us stuck. I'm fundamentally flawed. If I succeed more, I'll be disloyal or leave people behind. Success brings a bigger burden. I must not outshine others. We all carry some version of these stories. But they're not the truth. They're just old scripts, inherited from childhood or culture. And the only way to break free? Conscious commitment. You don't drift into your genius zone. You decide to live there. You commit to it moment by moment. You build habits around it. You protect it with boundaries. You repeat your mantra. I expand in abundance, success, and love every day, as I inspire those around me to do the same. That's how you stay anchored when the world tries to pull you back. That's how you grow through fear instead of running from it. That's how you unlock not just more success, but deeper fulfillment. And finally, the most beautiful message of this book? Your expansion isn't just for you. When you stop dimming your light, when you give yourself permission to play bigger, when you choose joy, success, love without guilt or apology, you become a mirror for others. You show your friends, your family, your audience, what's possible. You invite them to take their own big leap. That's the ripple effect. That's how real change happens. So as we close this journey, here's the final reflection. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to just get by. You were meant to expand every day. You were meant to live in your genius and to lift others just by being fully you. So don't wait for permission. Take the leap. Lie there. And keep expanding. If you found this summary insightful and valuable, don't forget to show your support by subscribing to the Mindful Brief on YouTube. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this audiobook summary, share it with your peers, friends or family who might benefit from it, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Your engagement helps us create more in-depth and valuable content for you. Stay tuned for more summaries, insights, and strategies to elevate your knowledge and career. Subscribe now and be part of the journey.